Good morning, friends. Today I am going to discuss life and career of T.S. Eliot. So we can know T.S. Eliot as the invisible poet. Thomas Stern Eliot enjoyed a long lifespan of more than 75 years, and his period of active literary production extended over a period of 45 years. He has come to be regarded as one of the greatest of English poets, and he has influenced the course of modern poetry more than any other poet of the 20th century. 8. Opinion concerning the most influential men of letters of the 20th century has not freed itself from a cloud of unknowing, said by Canner. And therefore, the learned author proceeds to call him the invisible poet. This unknowing has resulted partly from Mr. Eliot's deliberate mystification. He called himself Old Possum and tried to pretend that he was no poet at all, and partly from the difficult nature of his writings. Now, we will know birth and parentage. However it may be, the facts of his life are clear and well known. He was born on 26 September 1888 at St. Louis, Missouri, an industrial city in the center of the USA. His ancestors on father's side had migrated to America in 1668 from East Cocker in Somersetshire, England, and had become flourishing merchants at Boston, New England. It was the poet's grandfather who had left New England for St. Louis and established a Unitarian church here. He was a man of academic interest and in course of time became the founder of the Washington University at St. Louis, and also left behind him a number of religious writings. But the poet's father, Henry Eliot, did not enter the church. He took to the brick trade at St. Louis, in which he was very successful. He married Charlotte Stearns, who came directly from Boston when they married. She was an enthusiastic social worker as well as writer of caliber. In her writings can be seen that keen interest in technical innovations which we find in the poetry of our poet. Thus, it is clear that Eliot's grandfather and his mother contributed a lot to his development as a writer, especially as a religious poet. From his father, he inherited his business ability, which led him to the bank and later on made him such a successful head of publishing firm. Mr. Eliot's complex, many-sided personality was the outcome of a number of inherited factors. Now, we will know his boyhood and education. Eliot was first sent to school at St. Louis Day School, where he studied till 1905, when he went to Harvard University. At school, he was considered a brilliant student, and in 1900 won a gold medal for Latin. He began writing at school and showed a marked technical proficiency and sense of humor. In 1897, his father built a holiday resort at Eastern Point near Cape in New England. And here the poet passed his school vacations. It was here that poets became an expert archman and consequently shelling images are frequent in his works. Near Eastern Point there are three rocks known as the dry slavage, and a part of the Four Quarters derives its title from them. The poet was at Harvard from 1906 to 1910, 4 years, where he pursued a wide-ranging course of studies in language and literature, the classics and German, French, and English literatures. Particularly keen was his interest in comparative literature. Two of his teachers, Irving Babbitt and George Santana, influenced him profoundly, and he owed his sense of tradition largely to them. Round the year 908, he read Arthur Simon's book, The Symbolist Movement in Literature, and this stimulated his interest in the poetry of the French symbolists, especially Lafroy. Now we will know his European tour. Eliot graduated from Harvard in 1910, and promptly by his interest in the French symbolist, he went to France and spent a year at the Sorbonne University at Paris, studying widely in many contemporary writers. In 1911, from Paris Eliot went to Bavaria, Germany, where he came into contact with important German writers and read their books. He returned to Harvard later in the year and studied philosophy, especially Indian and Sanskrit literature and philosophy. He was by nature shy and introvert, and in order to shake off his shyness, he took boxing lessons. In 1913, he was elected president of Harvard Philosophical Club. However, the very next year, he undertook another trip to Germany to continue his philosophical studies there. Now, we will know Eliot's marriage in England. With the outbreak of First World War, Eliot had to leave Germany. He came to England and continued his study at Oxford till 1915. His financial difficulties compelled him to take up the job of a school teacher. From England, he submitted his thesis on the philosophy of Bradley for the doctorate degree, but never returned to Harvard to take that degree. The outbreak of the First World War, his meeting with Ezra Pound in London in 1914, and his introduction through him to the lively literary circles of London of the time, and finally his marriage to an English girl, Vivienne Hay, in July 1915, led to his settling London and make its home. Thus, through born an American, Eliot came to be a naturalized citizen of England. And after this, he had also career as a journalist, and he had also written a religious note, right? Fame and recognition, his death, we will study in the next video. Thank you everyone.